CES is full of all types of gizmos and gadgets every single year, and as amazing and unique as some inventions are, it seems this year's CES was dominated by two things in the gaming space: handheld gaming and AI. Now there are several different ways to use AI in gaming, but we'll save that for later on in the video. First, I want to talk to you about handheld gaming and the impact of devices like the Nintendo Switch and Steam Deck. It wasn't that long ago that handheld gaming was a super niche subcategory of gaming, often using cut down or light versions of games, or just using unique software altogether. Mobile gaming has since took off and has its own established market separate from PC and console gaming, mainly because PC and consoles had their own issues. The thing about gaming handhelds is that playing PC games on them was near impossible until recently. Most gaming handhelds ran a modified version of Android, which was fine for light gaming and emulation, but if you haven't noticed, PC games typically don't come to Android. The other issue is that Windows doesn't work well on gaming handhelds. I mean, it doesn't work well on desktop either, but that's another story. So we have Android handheld gaming devices that can't run newer, larger AAA titles, and we have the PC gaming handhelds with Windows that can run those titles, but with an extremely unfriendly interface, costing you hours of troubleshooting, headache, and precious gaming time. In comes the Steam Deck running SteamOS, a Linux-based operating system created by Valve, the owners of Steam, the largest PC platform for buying and playing all your PC games. They created this OS from the ground up with not only gamers in mind, but their flagship creation, the Steam Deck. This was going to revolutionize PC gaming, and since Valve already had a platform they were generating revenue from, they were not only able to undercut their competition by a few $100s, but also give their users a much better experience. It was the best of both worlds, and no one had even come close to creating something like this. So why would Valve open SteamOS to other handhelds? Well, it's because of what I just said. They are the largest PC gaming platform, and the more devices running their proprietary software, locking down the user to only be able to buy games from Steam, they secure a lot of revenue with this emerging and very popular PC handheld market. The first ever non-Steam Deck device to launch with SteamOS is the Lenovo Legion Go S, and I was able to get my hands on it and get some first impressions.
I'm here at CES with the Lenovo Legion Go S, the first PC gaming handheld running SteamOS that isn't a Steam Deck. Now this is a big boy just like the Steam Deck and the other gaming PC handhelds, but honestly the weight isn't a problem at all. I was sitting on here gaming and I forgot that I was even recording a video. Now to get down to this price point, they've had to cut back on a couple things, namely the back buttons. Instead of a set of two, you get a set of one. So one on each side, but that should be enough for most games. I only use one set of back buttons. I don't ever really use two. I accidentally press them if I use two. So I don't know, for this price point and for what they're giving you, I think this is a really good buy. Compared to the Windows OS versions, you still get the same storage options, the same chip options, the same just about everything. One is just running SteamOS, which if you play mostly Steam games, that should be enough for you. This thing is absolutely incredible. It's in kiosk mode, so it's not a lot I can do. There's only a couple games I can play. If they let me, I'd log into my Steam account and I'll play Witcher 3 on this thing or something, but this is amazing. The form factor is great. We've seen these gaming PC handhelds make their way into the market, and it seems like more and more of these companies are picking up on what they need to do to make a better iteration, faster and faster and faster. I do like the ergonomics of this thing. It seems like there's something they want to get right first instead of it being an afterthought with something like the Switch, which, you know, has grips and cases and other things that you can buy to make it more ergonomic. This is just ergonomic from the jump, and I really, really like that. Now, this is the first non-Steam Deck device to be running SteamOS, and they say that they're opening the platform to more and more partners. Now, we have to wait to see real-world comparisons between this and the Steam Deck, but so far, I think it's a go. At CES, it seems like the three things that are taking over are AI, gaming handhelds, and more AI. Now, I'm going to get back to playing this thing, but make sure you look out for the Legion Go S later this year.
AI has been the talk of the town ever since ChatGPT hit the scene. The distant future of full automation and robot companionship seemed that much closer, but what about gaming? How could our favorite hobby use this new development? Well, initially, it seemed like all AI would do is replace writers, voice actors, and video creators. As a YouTuber, I can be all three of those things, so I wasn't very happy. This introduction to AI turned off a lot of people, and subsequent actually useful cases of AI in gaming were shunned. That is until nvidia. Nvidia has always been a pretty successful company, but in 2024, their stock prices rose 131% in a single year. As gamers, this was interesting news to us. Nvidia was already on a trend of increasing their prices on PC components year over year, but now they had seen a major boost financially from becoming a leader in AI, primarily because of their highly optimized GPUs specifically designed for AI computations. We were seeing this unfold and create somewhat of an AI bubble where everything not touched by a human directly was called AI. But how would this affect gaming? When Nvidia announced their 50 series card, they had some interesting claims that their 5070 at $549 could perform perform on par with a 4090 at $1,600. Clearly this was marketing talk, but when you see the rather large asterisk, it begins to make sense. This could only be done with the power of AI. Nvidia was only able to achieve these feats by using their latest version of deep learning supersampling, or DLSS. Disclaimer, I am not super technical. I understand what DLSS does and how it does it, but I might not explain it back to you with the utmost accuracy. For that, you can watch one of Nvidia's many explanatory videos on their site. DLSS is a feature on the more recent graphics cards that uses AI to reconstruct images from multiple lower resolution images. So your game may render at 720p natively, but be able to output at 1440p without much of a difference in image quality than if your GPU just brute forced and created all those pixels itself. This takes a load off your GPU and allows for better performance at higher frame rates. It's not just resolution though. DLSS can also use frame generation to insert AI frames in between actual GPU rendered frames, effectively increasing your overall frame rate. Initially, it was something like for every 3 frames, it will construct an AI frame, or what people are calling fake frames. Technically, all frames are fake, but we don't have to get into that. Over the years, DLSS has been able to increase that from 3:1 to 2:1, and with DLSS 4, we're looking at a 1:1 frame generation, with the option to go to the lower 3:1 and 2:1 presets. This can look blurry at times, create some latency, and/or over-sharpen in some games, but when implemented right, you can enjoy the latest AAA games with lower-end hardware. I use DLSS with my 3060 in a recent game, Final Fantasy 16, a current-gen PS5 console exclusive and known abuser to GPUs, recommending a RTX 2080 just to get 1080p 60. Normally, my 3060 can run modern games at 1080p over 60 frames per second, and if the game is decently optimized, I can hit 1440p 60. Without DLSS, this game is destroying my card, and it's enough to make a guy feel like he needs to go out and spend $1,600 on a 4090 just to play current gen games. But with DLSS, I can get around the frame rates I should at the resolutions I prefer. It's a really cool tool that uses software to make my weaker hardware last a little bit longer than the initial 2021 purchase. Sound good? Well, some gamers, mostly at the high end, don't like this because the GPU they're paying thousands and thousands of dollars for is now not using raw power to create these frames, but software. They fear it'll make devs lazier and reliant on software to fix the game and make it playable instead of taking the time to optimize the games for native performance. It's weird because I see praise for the Nintendo Switch 2 allegedly using DLSS, but if my 50 series GPU uses it, then it's a real problem. Personally, as a PC gamer on the lower end, creeping towards 5070 or 5080 territory, I really don't see a problem with this. We can only have components so large, PCs so cool, and GPU die so big. We were always heading towards software to help compensate for game performance, and while it may not be perfect now, it's still pretty damn good. AI in gaming is here to stay, so we can either get with the times or get lost.